There's a car in the back of this trailer. It's a very unique car. In fact, this is the very first such car in India. Let's unbox it. But before we start, you need to guess which car this is. Hint, it can turn around like this. Okay, but first, let's get it out of this truck. Ready for it? This is it. Have you been able to guess yet? Come on, this is unmistakably, I'm not going to say it yet. I'm wearing a fitness band with zero fitness. I can't open this. Thankfully, I have just the right tool. Yo! Okay. Take a deep breath. This has genuinely been hard work. Okay, let's get it out. By the way, this car is so unique that it is already sold out. Of course you have guessed the car. This is none other than the Mercedes G-Wagon, but this one is electric. Ooh, the feeling of removing a brand new car from a trailer, absolutely unmatched. This is the very first of its kind. Okay, now is the time to go to a peaceful place to unwrap the car, because obviously the sound, the ASMR is what you guys want to hear, and this feels like a G-Wagon to drive because the feel is there. Only thing, the sound isn't there. It has got instant torque. It accelerates with so much enthusiasm. It's absolutely lovely. I can't wait to remove all the wrappings from this car. Woo! Okay, parking sensors are ringing continuously because of all the plastic sheets around. In fact, Mercedes claims that this car is even more capable than the ICE powered G-Wagon. Yes, the electric is more capable because of the advantages of having an electric motor. I'm not too sure how many people are actually going to take it off-road, but as I see it, this initial drive itself is so impressive. Finally, Mercedes has cracked an electric car. Not saying that the EQS is bad in any way. Because this car has no sound, the parking sensors are overreactive and overactive right now. It's so smooth. It's unbelievable. First impressions, absolutely positive. I never expected the G electric to be this good, and as I get into the throttle, it pushes me back into the seat. Okay, there's not much battery right now because it's just come fresh from Austria. I was going to say Germany, but like the regular G-Wagon, the ICE version, this one is also naturally made in Austria, because at the end of the day, that is the home of the G. Let's get out. Okay, the plastic sheet won't let me get out, only I get stuck here. I know the wait has been super long, but now it's finally time to unwrap the Mercedes G-Wagon Electric, or the G580 with EQ technology. Mercedes G-Wagon Electric. The packing is exceptional. There are like a million clips below which have to be opened to remove this plastic sheet, and it keeps going on and on. Half of which I can't even figure where they are. Woo! Look at this, where this particular clip is secured. Crazy, na? Why is there a pocket here? Simply to access the charging port. Oops. G580 with EQ technology. Finally, the big wrap is out. Trust me, Mercedes does a fantastic job of ensuring that not a single scratch comes to the car in transit. Exterior unwrapping done. Now let's step inside. Now before we unwrap the interiors, let me quickly slide in the sponsor for today, which is Involve Your Senses. This is the Involve One Citrus. It's a very refreshing car fragrance. It's a blend of lemon, lime and orange perfumes. It is super easy to regulate. You can just regulate it like this. It does not leak at all. And you can get yours with a 10% discount using coupon code FASTBEAM. Click on the top right corner of the screen right now, or if you want it urgently, click on the link in the pinned comment, because it's also available on Zepto. You can just keep it somewhere here in the cup holder and it makes the cabin smell really fresh. Anyways, let's remove all the plastics on the inside. This is the CBU checklist, PDI sort of. Wow. Just install the AMG carpets, or rather the AMG mats. Ah, the iconic locking and unlocking sounds of a G-Wagon, as if you're firing a machine gun. This Mercedes G580 with EQ technology is codenamed N465. Meanwhile, the ICE version of the G-Wagon is codenamed W465. Wait, it's not called EQG, it's just the G-Wagon Electric, and this is the Edition 1, which gets AMG line body kit, night package and some interior differences. The AMG line body kit includes protective molding with blue accents and front and rear brake calipers painted in blue. The night package darkens the headlight, indicators, mirrors, wheels and spare tire cover with high gloss black paint. Yes, the seats are made of Napa leather and they can be adjusted in a multitude of ways. You can cool and heat them and also enjoy one of the 8 massages on offer, as the active multi-contour seat plus package is standard with the Edition 1 package. Rear seat is decently comfortable with good amount of headroom, good amount of knee room, foot room, leg room, all of that is good, but under thigh support is actually not the best. The rear seats also get the heating function, no ventilation here. The rear seats can be reclined and you can open the seat base to fold the seats in 60/40 format. And this is a Mercedes, that too a G-Wagon, which means it's loaded with a ton of features just like the ICE counterpart. It gets 64 color ambient lighting, dual 12.3-inch high-resolution screens with AR navigation, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity, 9 airbags, level 2 ADAS, dynamic seats which alter the lateral support depending on the steering angle, 18-speaker Burmester sound system with 760-watt output and Dolby Atmos. In fact, it even gets a loudspeaker in the headliner. Here is an audio test. This car also gets an amazing 360-degree parking camera, headlight washers and a 3-zone climate control air conditioning system. But it is not all rosy, because this car does miss out on a few things which are expected at this price point. So what's missing? Well, this car doesn't have a heads-up display, there's no panoramic sunroof either. Instead, it gets a single pane sunroof and there are no rear sunblinds either. The 11.6-inch rear seat entertainment screens are also optional. They should be standard at this price point. In fact, the boot is slightly smaller when compared to the ICE version of the G-Wagon because the boot capacity here is 555 litres compared to the 640 litres of the internal combustion engine G-Wagon. Why is it like that? Because this car has a big battery and electric motors, which obviously take some space. This car is running on 275/50 20-inch tires. Meanwhile, I'm sure Mercedes will offer you bigger tires as part of optional kit. The G63 AMG, which I was driving recently, had 22-inch optional wheels. And the area for the wireless charging pad isn't that easy to use because the opening is quite narrow for bigger phones, which means you have to take in some effort to put a phone inside and also remove it. And stop staring at that Hummer because you are staring at it. Here are some cool shots of this mad, big, fat, gas guzzling or rather battery guzzling SUV. So while all the iconic bits are here, including these old school style door handles, this car doesn't have the side exhausts which are there in the G63 AMG because this is electric, it doesn't have any exhaust whatsoever. But what is the most impressive part about this car is that it is very different from other Mercedes electric models. Here is why. Unlike most Mercedes EVs, which are designed for aerodynamics over style, the G-Wagon EV looks like the regular internal combustion engine G-Class but is actually smaller in length, width and height, but has a 40 mm longer wheelbase at almost 2.9 meters. It gets the same iconic boxy design, unique indicators on the hood, exposed hinges, round headlights and side hinge rear door with a spare wheel on it. Making the electric G-Wagon look like the ICE G-Wagon is a smart move in design but not so much when it comes to aerodynamics because the G-Wagon is a boxy car and has the aerodynamics of a fridge. Although they have revised the A-pillar, added spoiler above the windscreen and also added air curtains to improve the CD value of this car. Yes, this is more aero efficient when compared to the regular G-Class. Unlike most Mercedes EVs which use the EQ badging, this one doesn't. But why did Mercedes even make this car? Simply because they wanted to make the world's best electric off-roader, and hence this car has off-road menus with transparent bonnet underbody view, 250 mm ground clearance, 9 mm more than the ICE version, 850 mm water weighting capacity, 150 mm more than the ICE version, a ladder frame which weighs just 300 kgs without the batteries of course, low range transfer case, special underbody protection plate to prevent damage to the battery, G steering wheel which reduces the turning radius and works up to 25 km/h speeds. Now look at the turning radius with the G steering activated. Obviously you have to be in low range firstly. You have to activate the rock mode. For anything you want to do with these two buttons, you have to get into these particular settings, and then when you make a U-turn, it's absolutely crazy how short the turning radius becomes. How does the G steering even work? Simply by applying brakes and locking the inside rear wheel, thereby dragging it and thus reducing the turning radius dramatically. It's similar to Jeep's trail turn assist. The G-turn, which basically is the tank turn and lets you turn the car 180 degrees at the same spot. But how does that even work? This car has 4 individually controlled electric motors, one on each wheel, using which it can do 2 full rotations by powering the wheels in the opposite direction. It only works with low range activated, that too in rock mode. After that, you have to make sure that the steering is held firmly straight. Even if you move it an inch, the tank turn gets cancelled abruptly. After that, you have to click on the right paddle, go full throttle, and the car will do a fantastic tank turn, or like Mercedes likes to call it, the G-turn. Crazy! Look at this, it's insane! This car has 5 drive modes: individual, sport, comfort, trail and rock, and 5 levels of recuperation. Remember, it's electric. It needs all the charge it can get. But the whole essence of the G-Wagon is the sound, right? I mean, this is how a G63 roars. So it doesn't sound as great as a G63 AMG. But this is electric, which means there is no sound. Well, not really, because the fake sounds have been termed as G-roar by Mercedes, where artificial sounds will be piped in both inside out, depending on the drive mode. And it obviously has the acoustic vehicle alerting system, which makes sounds till 30 kilometers per hour to alert people around you. So it doesn't sound as great as a G63. Well, not even near. But because it's electric, it has instant torque, so it must be faster than a G63, right? Wrong. It produces 580 horsepower, which is similar to the G63. And it makes 1164 Newton meters of torque, which is 314 Newton meters more than the G63. Yet, 0 to 100 km per hour timing comes up in 4.7 seconds, which is 0.4 seconds slower than a G63. Top speed here is limited to 180 km per hour, a full 40 km per hour slower than the G63 AMG, which can go faster by a further 20 km per hour with the AMG performance package. Instant torque hits you, and how? Yes, mind-blowing acceleration, but there's no sound, so that feel is definitely missing, but it does take off very quickly and it's super easy to drive. You sit high up, you get a good view of what's around. Turning radius is also tight. So in terms of the driving feel, this car is not G-Wagon level, but definitely feels like a G-Wagon. Obviously the G63 AMG is just something else, but don't discount this because it is very smooth and quite capable. In fact, more capable off the road when compared to the G63 AMG because of the benefits of electric, wherein the battery can be submerged in water and there is no issue whatsoever. Yeah, the fake sound being piped in here. But why is it slower than a G63? Simply because of the weight of the batteries, and they weigh a lot. This car weighs 3085 kgs, which is almost 600 kgs more than a G63 AMG. So it might not be faster, but it sure as hell is more efficient than a G63. Of course, this is no AMG. I know AMG is written on the wheels, but this is not an AMG, and Mercedes will definitely launch an AMG version of the electric G, which will be a lot faster than a G63. While the G63 AMG has a 100-litre fuel tank, this electric G-Wagon has a 116 kilowatt-hour battery pack with a claim range of 473 kilometers. It has a 10-year, 1.6 lakh kilometer warranty. It can charge from 10 to 80% in just 32 minutes using a 200 kilowatt DC fast charger. AC charging speed is 11 kilowatt, which means 0 to 100% takes way more time than I took to make this video. Just kidding, it's still respectable. Long story short, there are very few electric cars that actually impress me. But this electric version of the G-Wagon is actually quite impressive. Yes, the G63 AMG is still unbeatable. At a price upwards of rupees 4 crores, it comes across as super expensive, while the G580 powered by EQ technology is relatively affordable. But there's nothing quite like the G-Wagon, whether it is powered by electric, petrol or diesel. A G-Wagon is a G-Wagon is a G-Wagon because this car has stood the test of time. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, that's the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to check out the awesome car fragrance from Involve Your Senses, the Involve One Citrus. Click somewhere on the top right corner of the screen right now. Bye-bye. And comment which should be the next car to be unboxed.